Here's what you missed on the Mike Brown Morning Show.
The missteps that we would take, and he still decided to send his son to die for our sins. So I want you to know, wherever you find yourself right now, whatever you find yourself in, you're not too far gone. We have an advocate with the Father. His name is Jesus Christ. So hey man, get to know him. I promise you he'll help you out whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling sad, whatever feelings you're feeling. He's been there, he's done that, he's felt that, and he will. I'm a witness that he will help you get through it. I promise you. It doesn't matter what it is. He'll help you get through it. I'm excited to be here this morning. I always count it an honor to sit behind this microphone and talk with you. I don't take it lightly. So today we're going to do a lot of talking because a lot of stuff's happening. And as I said the day before yesterday, it seems to be election driven or election heavy or presidential heavy, or it is right now because that's what's going on in the world. And that's what we got to report. That's what we got to talk about. And it's also a lot at stake as it relates to the election. I know I sound like I'm beating a dead horse when I say it, but I feel like the national election or the general election is really just a distraction to keep us away from what's important. Especially as African Americans, we have to know what's important in our communities and learn what's important in our communities and go and vote so that, we really can have our voice heard. As it relates to the general election, we may not have our voice heard. Unfortunately, it may take some time to catch up to that, but it starts on the local level. Now, last night there were a couple of different town halls, and we'll get all into the details of it, but I think it was silly that there were two different town halls at the same time. Very strategic. I wish the Democrats would catch up with the games that the Republicans play. Hey, if it's a game, then that means there are rules of engagement. And I'm sorry, Democrats, y'all got to learn the rules of engagement. If you're going to play the game, play it all the way or get out of the game and go sit down. The Republicans are winning by default because of the rules of engagement. You don't let them outthink you and outsmart you. What are y'all doing? And I feel like I need to get in politics just to help them out. What's really going on? I mean, these people dedicate their lives and their careers to politics, and it don't seem like it because they make dumb moves. And then why? Okay, another thing. Why is everybody dragging Ice Cube for wanting to have a conversation for the betterment of black people? Why does it matter who he has the conversation with if it's for the betterment of our people? What's the problem? And that's what I've been talking about here anyway, us building community. That's how we build community, having a seat at the table. So if Donald Trump wins, that's the table that we need to have a seat at. If Joe Biden wins, then that's the table that we need to have a seat at. But if Joe Biden's camp is not willing to have a conversation until after the election, that means that we really don't matter, right? Or do you feel like you're not going to win? I mean, if you wanted our votes, I think that's important. But a lot of it is they just discount Ice Cube as a rapper, a producer, TV producer, whatever, movie producer, whatever have you. I'm gonna dig a little deeper into that. I'm probably gonna have a conversation today about some more things concerning the Trump. I think it's called the Platinum Plan. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. We're gonna talk about Roe versus Wade today. That's been a big topic, especially as it relates to the new justice that's being confirmed. Well, if she becomes a justice. So, hey, a lot of more show left for you. We're going to keep playing great music. The only thing I want you to do is go grab somebody and tell them to listen with you. I'll be back. It's the Mike Brown Morning Show right here on the Urban Uplift.
Wake up. Right here. The Mike Brown Morning Show.
Wake up, baby, won't you wake up? Hit it in the morning.
Heard weekdays 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Urban Uplift.
Oh, how with the audacity of you to believe or to have dreams. No, man. We're supposed to change. We're supposed to. And so I encourage you today. Shout out to you. I'm happy for you. Congratulations. And while I'm there, that brings me to my I was going to say this later, but don't forget, as a community, as our listeners to the Mike Brown Morning Show, don't forget that we're going to be digging into the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So you can go to Amazon and get it. I think my wife told me that it was $8 on Amazon, or it was very inexpensive. The actual hard copy of the book. Well, it's paperback, but I'm saying when I say hard copy, I mean in your hand copy of the book. And you can also get the digital copy wherever you buy books online. I would imagine that you can get it both physically and digitally. But I know for certain that if you are an Apple user and you go to the books application, you will be able to search Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's available there for $7.99 digitally. So, I mean, it's a New York Times bestseller, so I would imagine that it's available everywhere books are carried. I want you to do it now, though, because next Friday, the 24th, we're going to have our first discussion on the book. Next Friday, the 24th of October, that will be our first discussion. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be the first 2 chapters, but I will keep you aware, and we're going to have the lines open. We're going to have people that's already going to be here to talk about it, and we're going to dedicate a whole hour that day. And moving forward, that's what we're going to do every Friday. And once we're finished with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, then we're going to unlock another book. What we will not do is stand by and let them, when I say them, you know who I'm talking about. We will not stand by and let them continue to try to pull the wool over our heads. We're going to educate ourselves. We're going to know everything that's available to us. We're no longer are we second-class citizens. No, sirree, Bob. If you can have it, I can have it. As a matter of fact, if you can have it, I can have it, and it could be better than yours because I'm innately creative. It's in my DNA. It's in my genes to be creative and artistic. I don't know why God gave that to us. It seems like with a little more grace than others, but he did. And so I'm already a king. Maybe it's because we come from royalty. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But in this country, we're going to reign. We're going to reign in this country as well. Mm-hmm. And it ain't even about black supremacy or none of that. It's just that it's been far too long. No. We shall have what we say. We're going to build our communities again. Just like it was a Black Wall Street in 1920 something. It's going to be that again. You know what? It might have to be 100-year anniversary for that to take place. Maybe I'm speaking myself into a prophecy and I ain't even realize it. Maybe it is the 2020s where we're going to have the new black renaissance. And you know what? I kind of feel like that now. Okay, I stopped to congratulate you, entrepreneur. You keep going. It's going to work. But then before I talk about Roe v. Wade, there's a song that I want to play. It has nothing to do with what I want with Roe v. Wade. But shout out to Marcus Johnson. He has a song called Bless the Lord that was on his debut project. Well, not long ago, maybe about less than a month ago, his new project came out. It's called it's called BU. That's the name of the project. And I haven't heard this version of Bless the Lord Well, I heard it live because I was at the recording, but I want to play it here. This is going to be my first time hearing it as well as yours. So let's hear that. Then I'll be back with my commentary on Roe v. Wade. It's the Mike Brown Morning Show.
Heard weekdays 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Urban Uplift.
All right, I'm back. I am back. One of the things about this generation as it relates to music is that a lot of times we don't have our lyrical content could be a little bit better. That's the one thing. This goes back to the conversation I had before, just before I played the last song, about how I said the gospel music has a bright future. But if I could point out what this generation could work on, it's lyrical content and ad libs. I think one of the things that separates us from the prior generations is that they can get on a song and ad lib the heck out of a song, just talking about life experience, man. One of the best to do it is my pastor. Pastor Marvin Winans can ad lib you out of the basement up to the top floor. Kim Burrell, she's another one. And you know who else can ad lib real good? Quartet singers. Yeah. Okay. So I remember one time I was listening to an interview a few years back. T.D. Jakes was being interviewed. Bishop T.D. Jakes, Thomas Dexter Jakes, was being interviewed. And at the time of the interview, I was upset with Thomas Jakes, Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes, because of the answer that he gave. Now, I'm no longer upset with him because I think I've caught up to what he was saying. So let me give you what was said. I may be paraphrasing some of it because I don't remember exactly, but here it is. The interviewer asked Bishop Jakes, "Is Jesus the only way to God?" It was something like that was the question. Here is how he started his answer. "I'm glad I live in a country where religion is not forced upon me and I get to choose what my religion is and who I serve, what I believe." Now, and then he went on to say that he believes that Jesus is the only way to God. Now, when I first heard that, I was upset. I could not believe that Thomas Dexter Jakes didn't come right out and say Jesus is the way, the only way, and I couldn't believe it. But now I understand why and how he could answer the question that way. See, we have to understand that we do occupy this country with a whole lot of people that have a whole lot of different beliefs. And then there are other countries where they don't have freedom of religion. So when you consider those two things, answering the question that way does not take away the fact that Jesus is the way to God. You see how that works? You see how when you step back and stop being mad for a moment and look at it, how that works? Yeah. So at first I thought he was being diplomatic and politically correct, but no, he was just telling the truth. And so, but this is why that's important. You can't have it both ways. See, because we have what we call freedom of religion, meaning that I can be Christian or so-called Christian. I'm gonna say believer. You can be Muslim. You could be Buddhist, and even within the Christian set of beliefs, one could be Pentecostal, one could be Baptist, one could be Protestant, one could be. It's so many, but there's nobody telling you what you have to do. As you could be atheist, you could be. I mean, it's so many different things that you could be here in America, right? But on the opposite end of that, or the complete opposite of that, would be everybody's going to be this, and if you're not, then it's going to be some consequences. Or it could be, if you have a church service, you going to jail, you going to prison. We shutting you down, like in some parts of the world. So I understand the answer now, but not just for that question. That answer reigns true for so many other topics of discussion as well. And so that brings me to the whole discussion about Roe versus Wade. Now, I'm going to read what's here on the internet about it, but I want to give you a little overview first. The case is about abortion and the legalization of abortion. Now, was there abortion prior to it being legal across the board? Yes, there were. It was kind of like the whole gay marriage thing. It was acceptable in some states, but it was not a federal law that supported abortion or advocated for abortion. Not until, I believe, we're gonna get the actual time when I read the article, but I believe it's 1971 when it officially passed. So that has been a fight between political parties for almost 40 years now. That's more than 40 years, almost 50 years now. Whether or not it should be overturned, all types of stuff. And so that's kind of like while Amy, what's the lady last name? The lady that's being confirmed or possibly confirmed as a Supreme Court justice, the question keeps coming up on whether or not she'll vote for it or what's her stance on it. Because it's some rumblings about the decision being overturned. Now, it's got to go through this long, drawn-out process in order for that to happen, but it's in the talks. And the Democrats and Republicans been fighting about it back and forth for the longest time. So, I'm going to start my commentary about this kind of like Bishop Jakes started his answer. I'm happy that I live in a country that, although the decision was made and it is law, there is a possibility that law can be changed. Now, am I saying that I want it to change? No. Am I saying that I agree with abortion? No. But what I am saying is, I believe that it is a moral issue. I believe it's between you and God. I also believe that it did not have to be a federal issue. Just like same-sex marriage didn't have to be a federal issue. And here's why. If the states have the power to make those decisions without the federal government, and some states in fact did make those decisions without federal government involvement, then here is what it is. If you want an abortion and they're not doing abortions in Alabama, then you have to go to where they're doing abortions. Right? Now, to me, that's fair. If you are saying in a same-sex relationship and you want to marry someone of the same sex, then you go to where they're doing that at, right? That seems fair to me. See, because you can't have it both ways. Why does everybody have to be subject to what not everybody is partaking in? And so some things don't have to be advocated for, especially when it can be done, when there's a way for it to be done and still be legal. It doesn't have to be federal law. But we live in a land where this is what happens. So when the possibility of these things being overturned comes up, we can't really, what are we going to do? I mean, you can't be mad. It's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. But the fact that we have the flexibility, that's the country that we live in. So, here we go. So everybody can understand. If you don't already know, I'm going to give you some details about Roe versus Wade. All right. Roe versus Wade was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court, in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. It struck down many U.S. state and federal abortion laws and prompted an ongoing national debate in the United States about whether this is written wrong, but about whether and what to extent should abortion be legal. Who should decide the legality of abortion? What methods of the Supreme Court should be used in constitutional? Yeah, this is wrong. It's written totally wrong. And what role of religious and moral views in the politics sphere would be? Roe versus Wade reshaped American politics, dividing much of the United States into abortion rights and anti-abortion movements, while activating grassroots movements on both sides. So the case was argued in 1971. Then it was re-argued again in 1972, and it was decided upon January 22nd, 1973. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit more. The decision involved the case of a woman named Norma McCurvey, known in her lawsuit under the pseudonym Jane Roe, who in 1969 became pregnant with her third child. McCorvey wanted an abortion, but she lived in Texas, where abortion was illegal except when necessary to save the mother's life. She was referred to lawyers Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey, who filed a lawsuit on her behalf in U.S. federal court against her local district attorney, Henry Wade, alleging that Texas abortion laws were unconstitutional. A 3-judge panel of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas heard the case and ruled in her favor. Texas then appealed this ruling directly to the U.S. Supreme Court, which agreed to hear the case. In January 1973, the Supreme Court issued a 7-2 decision ruling that the due process clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution provides a right to privacy that protects a pregnant woman's right to choose whether or not to have an abortion. But it also ruled that this right is not absolute and must be balanced against the government's interest in protecting women's health and protecting prenatal life. The court resolved this balancing test by tying state regulation of abortion to the 3 trimesters of pregnancy. During the first trimester, governments could not prohibit abortions at all. During the second trimester, governments could require reasonable health regulations. During the third trimester, abortions could be prohibited entirely so long as the laws contained exceptions for cases when they were necessary to save the life or health of the mother. The court classified the right to choose to have an abortion as fundamental, which required courts to evaluate challenged abortion laws under the strict scrutiny standard, the highest level of judicial review in the United States. Roe was criticized by some in the legal community, and some have called the decision a form of judicial activism. In 1992, the Supreme Court revisited and modified its legal rulings in Roe in the case of Planned Parenthood versus Casey. In Casey, the court reaffirmed Roe's holding that a woman's right to choose to have an abortion is constitutionally protected, but abandoned Roe's trimester framework in a favor of a standard based on fetal viability, and overruled Roe's requirement that government regulations on abortion be subjected to the strict scrutiny standard. All right, that's a lot. And go back and read it and study it for yourself. But long story short, abortion is legal in the United States. Depending on what trimester a woman may be in, it may be some restrictions as it relates to that. But as a general rule, anywhere in the 50 United States, it's completely legal, and it's what's called a woman's right to choose. So the Republicans are revisiting it again because I guess they want to go to it not being legal or on a mass level like it is now. So, hey, I don't have a dog in the fight. Like I said, it's a moral issue. And it's too bad that this is not a Christian nation like it claims to be. Because if it really was, then we could tell everybody to be filled with the Holy Ghost and let your convictions, or how can I say, be filled with the Holy Ghost and then be governed by your convictions. And that will fix all of it right there. I don't have to dictate what should and should not be done. But this is not a Christian nation like they claim to be. How could it be? You enslaved our people for 300 and some years. How could it be a Christian nation? So, but that's the Roe v. Wade. If you didn't know, you keep hearing it. That's what it's about. It's about abortion. And of course, you know, Democrats are all for abortion, or how should I say, more politically correct, they are for a woman's right to choose. All right, that's for people that didn't know. If you did know, I just revisited it for you. I'm coming back. We're gonna have a conversation with a friend of the show. I'll announce him when he come back. But we're gonna talk a little more about this election and how it impacts our people. A lot more to talk about. I'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. It's the Mike Brown Morning Show. Kirk Franklin, he got some of the songs he write, they just hit a certain kind of way. So look, I told you all that we were going to have a conversation with a friend of the Mike Brown Morning Show. As a matter of fact, this person was a co-host of the Mike Brown Morning Show, and he's here to share with us this morning. Welcome back to the Mike Brown Morning Show, the Right Reverend, Pastor A.R. Black from South Carolina. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Mike Brown. Oh, I'm so glad to be back. What's going on, buddy?
Man, you know, it's a beautiful day here in the neighborhood, man. We just happy.
Man,
we happy to be alive. We happy to be in the most beautiful city in the country. And, God is
that's
good.
debatable. That's debatable because if you don't have access to any beaches, that's kind of hard to say. You know, I'm on the East Coast, so it's real easy for me just to drive down to the beach and see that beautiful sunrise. But I guess we could put your city somewhere in the top five.
Listen,
somewhere in the top five.
We in the Great Lakes, man. I can drive down Jefferson right now and think I'm at a beach.
Oh my. Mm-hmm. Oh my. Well, you're not. You're not.
Well, but there are some beaches though now. Now we do have some beaches.
You make sure that I see those the next time I am in the great city of Detroit. I have not seen.
I got you.
I've not seen.
Yep. The next time you come, I'm gonna take you. Now, if you come when it's cold, I'm still gonna take you. But you'll be better served if you come in when it's warm.
Gotcha.
Because you'll see the sand. Because it's some sand on the beach too now.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
So they pretty much probably brought it from South Carolina for you all. That's what I'm thinking. Man. But yeah, man, Mike Brown showed, man, y'all doing some amazing things. And man, this is an amazing platform, especially during this coronavirus, COVID-19. Everybody kind of shut in. I think things are kind of opening up a little bit. But man, I appreciate your heart, your liberality, and just providing us a space to just listen to music and to discuss things, man. So Mike Brown, y'all doing big things.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. And I again, thank you for being on. So since I've been back, I don't know where it came from, but I have turned into an advocate for the Black community.
Okay.
And I know as a pastor, pastors wear so many hats. And I think that one of the hats that a pastor wears is that of a unofficial member of the political community.
Okay.
And so
I like it.
Oh, yeah. I think that was God inspired, man. I couldn't have said it without him inspired.
I like it. That was original. Yeah. I never heard it before. I like it.
So with that being said, how do you view the election and what's going on with it and everything? I'm just going to let you talk. From Donald Trump to Joe Biden to the whole Democrat, Republican, everything. What's your feelings?
Well, let me start here as relates to your statement. Your statement was so weighty about that as a pastor or a clergy or a prophet. I'm going to use the term prophet because that's what Scripture uses. Now, America, we are a democracy, so a biblical government setup is not like how it is in America, but Scripture will use this kingdom. There was a king, and the king had advisors, but every king, every president, every senator had a prophet. So I want to start there with that statement. It's so accurate that a pastor definitely needs to have an influence in the political arena because we are prophets. And I'm not talking about you get in a car or a house prophetic. No, meaning our ears to the mouth of God. And if when you read in the Old Testament, the king before he made any decree, most kings, some of them like Nebuchadnezzar and King Darius and those other ones, they went out on their own before consulting the prophet. But the prophet was always in the chambers and in the ear of the king. So, fast forward to our way of government, democracy. We don't have a king, but we do have individuals who represent our community, our city, our state. And I believe that the pastor, the preacher, needs to be influential in the guidance of law and of different things. So, as it relates to that, um, let's go to the election now. It's murky. The waters are really murky. The waters are really murky because um, I do believe that there's no faith in the government. There's no faith in the government due to personnel, not a party, personnel. Because many of us actually, um, as it relates to our morale and our ideology, we actually will vote a different party, but because of the personnel, we ain't touching it.
Yep.
You didn't hear me.
I'm right with you.
You know, so we have personnel that has, and this did not just happen in 2016 on forward to now, but it's the groundwork of not really having faith in the elections, in the government, uh, has been going on, I would say, for at least 15 years. So, but currently now, man, it's really murky because you have one candidate, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, who's currently our president, and really, and I'm not biased at all, but he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. If we pay attention to the conversation, we're not talking about international conversations with our allies and things because you know why the journalists and the those who are reporting the news, they know they can't even touch that because he won't know what he's talking about. And I know his groundwork is America first, but America first don't mean America only. All right, I can say black first, meaning my home, but I have neighbors to the left of me and in front of me. And so if their house is burning down, I'm not going to sit in my house and say, "Oh, it's not mine." And so, on the international level, he is unlearned to my opinion, and definitely he is the president to his supporters, and that speaks to leadership. When you are a leader to your fans and to your foes. It comes with the territory. And as relates to some of the ideology that they're running on, they have none. The Republican Party currently, for the past two conventions, they had no party. They had no agenda. They had no plan. It was just a free fall. Whatever he says, whatever the personnel says. So I believe that I don't know. I don't know what the parameters of endorsement on this platform. I can tell you how I voted. Is that am I able to do that?
Most definitely, yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know if any of your, all of your individuals who send money in may pull their particular.
No, sir. No,
okay.
they have an understanding that
Gotcha,
here at the Urban Uplift, everybody is entitled to their
I
opinion.
hear you. My opinion, guy. My opinion is that Joe Biden is healthy for our country currently. He's healthy for our country currently for a number of reasons. He has governed in government before. I think 42 years, 43 years. Um, uh, he definitely has relationship across the aisle because right now, Democrats and Republicans, the days of John McCain, Harry Reid, Ted Kennedy, those guys are no longer that's not even optional. You got the Jim Jordans. You got the you got you got the
Cory
Mitch
Booker,
McConnell, your Cory Booker's, the Mitch McConnell, the AOC,
Kamala's.
Alexandria Cortez. Yeah, you got them. That is always a bite. There is no negotiation. It's kind of like all or nothing now. Whereas Harry Reid and Boehner, I forgot his first name, and Paul Ryan, them guys was at least to say, okay, for the better of the country, we'll give this, but y'all got to give that. But they always came to a meeting place. I have seen over the past 6 years, even going into the last 2 years of President Barack Obama's term, it was absolutely no negotiation, all or nothing. Now, one area you're going to see them negotiate on is that budget, because you know what's in that budget? Their salary.
My.
Senators and House of Representatives' salary is in that budget. That's what you always. The government has not shut down, but one time, and it was like for like 2 or 3 days, if that, early in President Trump's term. But they always come to an agreement. But other things that literally affect the American family, it is all or nothing. As it relates to the morale and to the tension of America right now, I think Joe Biden, in my opinion, is healthy for our country, especially for our allies, and so that's my thought. It's just really murky. There's a lot of money. I know I'm in South Carolina. South Carolina is a red state. It's been over 24 years since there have been any kind of Democratic leadership, and that was our Governor Hodges. And ever since then, matter of fact, both senators are Republicans, Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham. But we're seeing that Lindsey Graham is having a tough time securing. As we can see, there's been a lot of money poured in to South Carolina nationally, and it's going to be something to see over these next 20 to 19 days. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, man. It's an unprecedented time, especially in our lifetime. We've never seen anything like this. And a matter of fact, maybe in our parents' lifetime, I don't know if the tension has ever been this great as it relates to the presidency.
Gotcha. Well, I think the tensions was greater. I think we do have. I think the tensions were greater. I think the tensions were greater because there was lack of information, lack of knowing. Information was not getting out in real time. They had to wait till 6 o'clock news to hear about stuff, or they had to wait until the next morning. And so the worst thing you can leave somebody is to their own thoughts. Ooh, that's preaching. That's good right there.
My.
Whereas in real time, we're getting information. I think that, people can come up to their own idea, or they're able to filter in propaganda and fake news a little bit more. But I really do believe the tensions were a little higher prior to now. And I think that's why, let me tell you, and this is how I came up to this thought. I literally said for a whole month or two, and that's so South Carolina, a whole month or two.
I'm following.
Said there is no way that things that are happening that they're letting this go. And then just by insight or observation, I say, you know why? We thinking that they're letting it go, but they've already got a playbook to this happening before, because there were other leaders, presidents, government officials, who tried to do what he is doing. So I don't believe there is some unprecedents, absolutely, but I do believe the tensions were higher in the 70s and earlier during elections, especially the Vietnam War, especially Nixon.
Yeah, but I think though that they, at least, no matter if people agree with them or not, or what side of the aisle they were on, at least they could appear to be presidential, whoever they were.
I like it.
And to me, Donald Trump is just not presidential.
Absolutely not. I really do believe they need to change. Chaos chaos informs us of our vulnerabilities. I appreciate Donald Trump for showing us our vulnerabilities. We are America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, the quote unquote most progressive country in the world, which I second guess that. I think it's China. And America coming in number 2. As relates to progressive technology.
That's where the virus came from, the China virus.
See, listen. So you're pretty much saying anybody over the age of 45 can be the president. Anybody over
I'm listening.
Anybody over the age of hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. We still here.
Okay.
Dr. Black, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Anybody over the age of 45? My apologies, I had a little interruption.
Okay.
Anybody over the age of 45? You're saying anybody over the age of 45 can become the president without any previous governmental as relates to any resume, not ever been in government before, and I think that's problematic. So I agree with you, that he is not presidential. I agree with you,
and quite polarizing as well.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, because it's like things that we didn't even we knew they existed, but it's like he has magnified like race relations and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Hey, so while you're here, man, I got a person that I call our unofficial pundit here on the Mike Brown Morning Show.
Unofficial who?
Our unofficial pundit.
Okay.
Whenever it comes to politics and news and things of that nature, especially during this election season, this is who we turn to. And Romero Lancaster, welcome back to the show, sir.
What's up, Mike? What's up?
Hey, so Pastor Black, this Romero, y'all know each other. Romero, this Pastor Black. Let's continue the conversation.
I can't hear him.
Bishop Black, how you doing?
Can you hear him, Dr. Black?
I can't hear Romero.
Now that's strange. Hold on just a moment. I'm gonna get this right. Y'all should be able to hear each other. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go to break, and then when I come back, that's gonna be worked out. But y'all both can hear me separately. Romero, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Very clear.
Okay, but can you hear Pastor Black?
I don't hear him speaking.
Hello?
No. Okay, you can't hear him. All right, I'm gonna fix that. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's the Mike Brown Morning Show.
I heard him when you called him, but it was like on speakerphone. That's why I got
difficulties. But we were able to figure it out. So I'm going to bring back to the show Reverend A.R. Black and our official political pundit, Romero Lancaster. Welcome back, gentlemen. Are y'all there? I'm sorry. Gentlemen.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, there we go. The devil don't want this conversation to happen today, but it's happening.
Well, no, it's not. I don't think it's the devil. It may be your phone service. Come on over to Verizon.
No, it's not the phone service, because you hear how clear, it's crystal clear in the airwaves.
I'm messing with you.
It's that
the saints love pleading the blood.
It's that doggone Prince and Power of the air.
Well, you got some work there.
Well,
let's pray that Twitter shut down Donald Trump's.
You know what? And why?
Yeah.
Why is he not? Why don't America just block him and let him tweet by himself?
He has actually been quarantined a couple times by a couple of platforms. For disinformation.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, what's my man Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham are going to subpoena Facebook and Twitter CEO because they feel like that they are censoring um, a right wing ideology, and it's
Oh
just
wow.
yeah that's happened over the past 48 hours.
Oh
That
wow.
I
That's
think
super current.
the press secretary was censored, so that has caused a big stink. Yeah, a big stink.
Well, that's good to know because
Yeah.
then maybe that'll help regulate him as it relates to the things that the messages and subliminal messages that comes out through Twitter is really an unfair advantage, especially to the right wing, as you said. But then also, imagine if Donald Trump does not win the presidency, the things that
Oh.
we're going to be subject to on Twitter.
Oh, he gonna burn it down. He gonna burn the house down.
Oh
I
yeah.
promise you, he gonna burn the house down.
I mean, but he can be at that point if he loses the presidency, man. He can be super ignored. I mean, like, who cares? I mean,
Right, right.
at that point, goodbye. I mean, what do your words mean at that point? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. True story. True story. So I want to pick up. Well, I want to visit the last couple of days. I want to kind of talk about Justice Amy. I keep forgetting her last name, but
Barrett.
y'all know who I'm talking.
Amy Barrett.
Barrett. There it is. I want to talk about those hearings, and then I want to jump into last night's town halls. So, Romero, did you get a chance to check out any of the hearings?
So I picked it up in bits and pieces, and I'm glad you went there. I love this piece of conversation, and I'm glad that there's a pastor online so he can kind of, because I love to bounce my theories.
Oh, they're gonna take my license after this. I'm thinking.
I love to bounce my theories off of people who are smarter than me, people who are further down the road. So here's my thought. Now, I'm in an interesting situation because I am voting for the Biden-Harris ticket. That's who I'm voting for. However, I do not mind this appointment. A part of me, I'll say, doesn't mind this appointment by the Trump administration, even though they are not integral about how they're going about it. Lindsey Graham gave his word. He said, use my words against me. We will not appoint this person to the judiciary if a Supreme Court justice dies in an election year. We will not do it. Use my words against me. It's on video. The Republican Party is not integral at all. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's my thing. I believe because Christians, there's no party that gives us all of what we need. We have to become more sophisticated in our political approach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so now that you have Amy, she's going to get the appointment. That's going to happen.
Absolutely.
She's going to get the appointment. Now that she will have the appointment, she will battle the issues of abortion. She will battle the issues of like same-sex marriage and stuff. So that really frees me from having to vote for a Republican president.
Well, what's wrong with abortions and what's wrong with same sex in America? Now, not scripturalized, because let me preface with saying this: marriage is between a born male and a born female, and I've got to say born because we have people who have sex change. My ideology, my belief, my doctrine, my preachment is always between male and female.
Yes.
I don't like the optics. All right. Abortions, I think there's only really 25 to 30% abortions that is for the sake of hiding or not wanting to have responsibility. 45 to 60% of abortions are for medical reasons. So here's my issue on the conservative platform. I am a conservative ideologist, naturally. Scriptural wise, I must be. But here's my problem with America's conservatism is that realistically, the views of the Conservative Party, the Republican Party, and Amy Barrett, a Brett Kavanaugh, they will vote or they will hold judgment that can hold back my black sister, my black brother, and they will be behind a police officer who will shoot down my black son simply because he's black. So this is what I'm going to say on this statement. Two men, two women been together. I don't like the optics, and it doesn't do well in my spirit, but at least it does not physically affect my son or me as a black man.
And I don't disagree with
Hmm.
your concern.
Hmm.
I don't disagree with your concern.
Hmm.
Um, but I my
I
the
told you my
so
license is gonna get taken.
That's
so
strike.
so
That's
here
strike one.
so here's where I am on the issue of abortion. Now I have
Hmm.
conflicting statistics that say that the majority
Okay.
of abortions are used as a form of birth control. But that's we can just go back and forth on those statistics all
Yeah, I
day.
got you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you. I hear you. Hmm.
Yeah. So, but so as a country, if it is not I think the nuance should be put into the law concerning abortion that if it's not legitimately a life or death situation, for the host, the
The
potential
mother,
mother.
right?
Yeah,
But
if it's not a life and death situation, it shouldn't be happening. And here's let me speak to this since we're there.
uh huh. Hmm.
I really despise the her choice argument. My body, my choice. It's really people really tie their shoes to strings together, and they trip over their own argument when they go with that, because you would say if you saw a pregnant woman drinking alcohol, or if
Hmm.
you saw a pregnant woman smoking, you wouldn't get mad at her because she's damaging herself. You get mad at her because she's going to affect the other person
Die.
Yeah, good,
that's in
good. That's
that
good.
that's inside.
That's
That's good.
revelation.
or
That's good.
or yeah, so that
But
her my
A woman's
choice
right to
is,
choose.
yeah,
but
a
at
woman's
the,
right to choose. It's a self-defeating argument.
but at the end of the day, we can be upset about it, but it's still her choice.
But we don't have to legalize it.
And
Well,
that's what I said earlier. I said
Mhm.
the whole endorsing of it, or the fighting for it on a federal level, I think was unnecessary.
Well, I
Correct.
think it's
I
a, I think
agree.
it's a fault. I think once again I believe exactly, Mike, what you're saying. I think it's a fake and a false argument because this is the reason why. If we're saying that life starts at conception, and I said this earlier on privately to Mike Brown, and I say it publicly now. If we're saying that life starts at conception, then there's a number of things that needs to happen. That embryo needs to have a social security number, and I also need to be able to put that embryo on my insurance.
Agreed. I
So
agree.
if we're saying that,
I
then why
agree.
is it they want to allow you don't get a social security number until you're out of the womb? You can't be insured until you out of the womb. It goes to show me that it's not an honest argument. I think it's a control argument. I think I think it, and I'm not saying they're trying to say is to legalize it. I think most of the argument is people are real saying, I don't want my tax dollars to fund Planned Parenting, and I agree with that. I agree with that to an essence, but I do believe that the decision is up to that mother and that potential mother and that potential father. I think the position and the posture of the church is because I've had individuals in my office that was making the decision. One was for medical, and other was for the lack of responsibility. And you know what my answer was? I'm
What
going to
was
pray
it?
that whatever decision you make, that you have the strength to endure it, because you cannot legislate the heart.
And with that being said, it's too bad that America is not the Christian nation that it claims to be.
It
Because
is. It's the white Christian nation. I'm sorry.
okay, well yeah,
That's my fault.
I'll
I'm
give you
sorry.
that. But
I never stuck that. I'm sorry.
but
Go
but
ahead,
with
Dr. Brown.
it being a white Christian nation, that already discounts the validity of Christianity as we know it to be. And so
Well,
if it truly was a Christian nation, then we could say everybody needs to seek the Holy Ghost. And then once you're filled with the Holy Ghost, then you can be governed by your convictions. And then we wouldn't even have to talk about it anymore, because your conviction will let you know what you need to do in those situations without government having anything to say. But this is not, like you said, this is the white man's Christian nation, the same person that enslaved us for nearly 400 years.
Come on.
so here, I'll respond to that. Even though America clearly is not a Christian nation, it is not. Let's
It's
just
not.
be clear. You know, however, in the Pledge of Allegiance, it was fitting to the forefathers that they would have a nation under God. Now, maybe America is not a Christian nation, but they did say that they would be a nation under God.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you that, when you say under God, that automatically enacts a transcendent moral law.
I like it. I like it.
That automatically brings a transcendent moral law over everybody and everything. Well, and here's the thing: if you think about the three major religions you got is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
Mm-hmm.
They all have the same. For the sake of this argument, we'll say same generic
Be careful.
moral code, the same generic moral code, which is the Torah. All three of them ascribe to the Torah.
Now you talking good, but still be careful what you're talking good.
Now we may go somewhere else with this. Now I don't know if it's the same moral, because one still believe in multiple. Never mind.
Well,
but I'm saying, but even
I
even
hear
if they
is he faithful?
Being,
is he faithful to his wives?
No, I know what you're saying, Romero. I'm being messy.
Right.
Well, you didn't respond to what I said, Black. I said, is he being faithful?
Man, don't get me started.
Okay.
This is not the I would never be allowed at Nevada again.
This is the Mike Brown Morning Show.
Hey, there's something called screen record.
No, but just to bring it full circle, this country did say that it would be a nation under God, and so that brings into play a transcendent moral law. And based on that claim alone, I think you really have, based on that claim alone, you have to see your policies and practices through a God lens.
I think that we need to be careful, and I'm for, and a lot of things I'm saying just for devil advocacy. Most 90% of everything that we all are saying that I agree on, but just for the sake of, you have to talk on both sides, of the conversation.
And I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we got to be careful, because what we don't want to set up for our grandkids, there will be a day that a president or a government leader will not be. We already seeing it. Will not be a Christian. They will be a Muslim. Yeah. And if we're going to use,
you said we already saw it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've got the girl Aman. She's Muslim. We got a couple of Muslim racial representatives.
Right.
They will rise to be the majority in government.
Okay.
And if we're going to say the Holy Bible, the Scripture, which is infallible proof of God's word, it
Yeah.
is my belief if the Constitution gives freedom of religion, so that's the freedom of all
Yes.
religion. And we've got to be
Yes.
careful of how far we pushing this envelope
I agree.
with putting our moral agenda, because one day they will pull their moral agenda and it will be constitutionally right. That's why I say we might need to curb some of these conservative ideology and pushing the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, he is going to be the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but there is a Pharaoh who rose who knew not Joseph.
Right. And I agree. I just want to push back a little bit though, because I don't think that we have to dial back, but I think that we need to also respect. See, because if we dial back, then that's almost giving away too much power. But at the same time, I feel like I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to believe what I believe, but I'm not going to be mad at you or treat you differently for believing what you believe, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's Black. You really said a lot in that last statement that you just made. You
Now,
really
don't skip
said
over what I just said now, but go ahead.
But I gotta go to that point so I don't forget. But Black, I think we need to have a extensive and deliberate conversation around that in the clergy now, to really to strategize for that day, to strategize the position of the church, because that day's coming.
Yeah.
We need to have very deliberate, extensive, exhaustive conversation about the positioning of the church in that day, because that is something that's actually been on my mind so much. Is like there's this balance of, you do not want a godless society, but at the same time you cannot politicize or force your Christian values on everybody.
That's right, because Jesus didn't do it that way.
Yeah, God from the beginning respected choice when he gave man free will. From the beginning, you can choose. He even said, "I set before you life and death. Choose life."
Well, even
but I still gave you a choice.
And God only gave us dominion over fish of the sea, fowls of the air, every creeping thing. But in that list was never a human being.
Uh-oh.
My.
Yeah, it's never a human being. Only we have dominion over the earth, but never another human being. And that is something. And I do believe that the preacher, and I said it, I think in my opening statement, that there was always a prophet in the ear of the king. Now we don't have kings, but and as it relates to lateral comparison, we have government officials. There should be a prophet in the ear of the government official. And then also we should be teaching our sons, our daughters, because something that's been missing especially in the Pentecostal apostolic charismatic Black church is government involvement.
Yeah.
We don't train our children to go into government.
Yeah,
we don't. And I think that's how
go to the Baptist or the AME church.
No, not even the Baptist. I don't see that.
They in there. Oh yeah,
Baptist that is right. That is true.
What is Mike? What is Wendell Anthony? What is he?
I want to say AME, but I think he's Baptist though. He appears to be AME, but I want to say he's Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's what we need to do. So that's the conversation, Romero, that I believe not so much even the clergy, but maybe starting instilling into our kids to look into government and the judicial system. We need more people on the bench as well too. We need Holy Ghost filled persons on the bench.
Yeah. No, really, that's I'm so with you. But yeah, I think that's a big conversation we need to have is grooming a generation to be politically minded and and how are we going to navigate that space of America, who is, governed by now a Muslim, governed by someone who has no religious affiliation.
Right, right.
That those are going to be some waters to traverse, some
Yes.
choppy waters to traverse. So
Yeah.
great point there. Great
Yeah.
point.
Okay,
I
so
just go ahead.
go ahead, and
No,
then
I was just gonna go back to the just the surrounding of the Amy Barrett confirmation. I think it taints the integrity of the courts just by how it's being done. She may be the right person, but how it's being done uh, will cause individuals to lose faith in what's supposed to be a nonpartisan, branch of government. And clearly, we don't see that. The conservative and radical, or conservative and liberal, should never be a term to describe how a judge is going to rule, because they are not partisan. It's not a radical
yeah,
idea.
it's supposed to
It is
be
not a
case by
conservative idea.
case.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
law.
Great
It's whatever
point.
the law
Yeah.
is.
Wow.
what happens,
Okay.
and
yeah.
then even with the law, each case is different. I mean,
Yes.
so you can't
It's the
just
law.
blanket everything together.
Yeah. That's good too.
But we gotta. I want to move on because we only got a few minutes left. I want to move on to
Can I just
the
throw this
town
one-
halls.
Okay. Can I just throw
Well,
this
tie
one
it
thing off
into
of-
tie it into the town halls, if you do. Go ahead.
So Black, I had to.
Okay, he's gone. I don't know what happened. But if you're listening, Romero, you can call back.
Hello.
Black, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know what happened, but call back if you're listening, Romero. But you back, Romero?
Yeah, I'm back. Okay, so I just want to throw this in there real quick on the judge thing, because that's a big thing, and I think it's an understated thing in this election. And I wanted to bounce this off of you.
We don't got much time now.
Okay. So 2043,
Mm-hmm.
America becomes a majority minority country. That's going to happen.
Okay.
Right now, Republicans are packing the courts. Trump overall has appointed over 200 judges on all the levels, the federal district courts, all the way down.
Mm.
So what they are doing is they are setting up an apartheid-style government where the minority white, because these are lifetime appointments, he's
That's
appointing
good.
35 to 40 years old. Are you still there, Black? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, he's appointing 35 to 40-year-olds, and these are lifetime appointments. So if he stays in office, he's going to appoint even more. And so this election really boils down to the battle of the courts for who will have control for the next 40, 50 years. Because even though the majority will be minority and the conservatives will lose most popular votes, it will not matter because they will have packed the courts and they have the final say. So when you say, hey, so-and-so needs to be out of jail, this was wrongfully done, the police are out of control, they're putting a poll tax on voting, they're gerrymandering, and all of these different issues, that goes to the federal district court. And if it's packed with conservatives, all the issues you raise are going to be overthrown or not heard justly because they're packing the courts.
Well, there's a
I wanted
safety
to
net.
pass that on for you and see what
You waited too late
where
in the
you at.
conversation,
Are
Romero,
you
to
feeling
bounce that though. That's a lot to bounce in 3
But
minutes.
there's a safety net because judges can be recalled or be what's the term? It just left me. No, what's they just did to Trump? He was
impeached.
Judges can be impeached. If you have the House of Representatives and then the Senate takes it up, judges can be impeached. So that's our safety net.
Okay.
They can be impeached, and judges can be recalled. Appointments, although it's lifetime, but it can be. And the issue with I know 200 of them he has put on the across the circuit and the appellate court. 30% of them are have never heard a case, and most of them the law, the whatever they use, the bars say they were disqualified. They don't meet the qualification. So he's stacking, but I think that'll be short lived. And this is what they need to be talking about. I know Biden and Pelosi and all they want to be general and want to be real general about facing those issues, but that's what we need to be hearing. That when that particular party gets in office as the majority, they are going to address all of these appointments and look at it because they're not qualified. It doesn't have anything to do with who the president was. It has everything to do with unqualified individuals. And that's it alone.
But let's just be real though. At the same token, if it was a Democratic president, he would do the same thing.
They would be qualified.
But as it relates to Amy, I mean, as it relates to the Supreme Court, this last one, I think she's qualified, and I also think she's done a masterful job answering the questions that were given her during the confirmation hearings. So, I mean, that could be up for discussion. But, hey, I didn't get a chance to get into everything that I wanted to talk about. I got to blame it on Romero. This is the second time he's done this, Black. I can't finish my show because Romero goes on these long rants. But
I got a newfound respect for him. I had no clue that Lancaster was so into and informed. I got a whole other level of respect for you.
He's too passionate for the Mike Brown Morning Show. But we keep bringing them back. But listen, gentlemen, I appreciate you for being here this morning. We don't take it lightly. Let's do it again real soon.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk to you all at another date. God bless you all.
Thanks for being on.
All right, Mike. Thanks, man.
So, y'all, it's the Mike Brown Morning Show. I want you to go tell somebody to become a part of the Urban Uplift community. Download the app. Come here every morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. to listen to the Mike Brown Morning Show. Command your day. Tell your day what it's going to be. I'm going to have a prosperous, super fantastic, wonderful rest of the day. In Jesus' name. I'll see you here on Monday. All right, don't forget to go get Rich Dad, Poor Dad, okay? All right, peace.
Wake up.
Right here. The Mike Brown Morning Show.
Wake up, baby, when you wake up, hit it in the morning.
Heard weekdays 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Urban Uplift.